Hello besties, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chloe and I am just a silly girl. Today we're talking about the 7 books that I read in June, and grab a drink, grab a snack, stick around. We got a lot to talk about. Today's drink for me is the strawberry vanilla prebiotic soda from Trader Joe's. I'm dying of thirst, oh my god. It's the way I managed to plug Trader Joe's in a book video. Like, if there is one fan left of Trader Joe's on earth, it's me. If there are no fans of Trader Joe's, I'm dead. Amazing. Let's get started. I do want to preface that I was extremely busy this month, and 7 is not too far off from how much I normally read, but I felt like I wasn't reading as much in general. So I'm kind of surprised that I ended with 7, because it felt more like a 5 month, if I'm gonna be honest. It was difficult to get to 7, and that was not because I was reading bad books. I want to read so bad, but I had no time this month. I've been so busy. I'm starting a new job in July, so I will be even busier, meaning less reading time, meaning I need to set smaller goals for myself, I think, because I don't want to lose the motivation to read, obviously, but I think I'm also going to try to do more audiobooks this month. So we read 7 books in June, and we will go over which ones of those were on the TBR from last month's wrap-up and TBR video, and which ones I added in as the mood swayed me. But I will just kind of spoil it right now and say that I did not read every book on my TBR, which is insane for me because I am a guided mood reader. I do very well with a short list. I just assign myself like homework to read those books. This month that did not work out. The other disclaimer of this video is that I accidentally read 47 second chance books. I'm now the pro at second chance. Like, I was honestly, that's one of my favorite tropes. And I was really getting burnt out of second chance, I'm not gonna lie. Have no fear, we will discuss. So the first book I read in June was on our TBR, and it was Meet Me at the Lake. I listened to this on audio, and it was okay. I rated it 3.75. It was not my favorite Carley Fortune book. It was the 3rd Carley Fortune book I've read, and it was definitely like lowest on the list right off the bat, just because Every Summer After and One Golden Summer are just so good to me. So great. One Golden Summer is one of my top romance books ever. Meet Me at the Lake is not on that tier at all. It was a second chance. It's about a girl whose mom passes away unexpectedly, and she inherits this like property of vacation rentals, basically like cabins. She's trying to decide if she needs to fix it up to sell or fix it up to continue running. And then someone she met in her past ends up showing up as a guest. I thought it was slightly more than mid-tier. I just wasn't getting even like 4-star feelings from it. So I did end up on 3.75. And I would say I would recommend any Carley Fortune book at this point that I've read because I just love the writing. And she does summer romance really well, but I also have discovered, like, why is every Carley Fortune book a second chance? Just an observation I made this month. And anyway, Meet Me at the Lake, yeah, it was good. I would definitely read it if you're into Carley Fortune's other books. Would I say start there with her books? No, definitely not. Unless you actually intentionally want to go from, like, good to best, you know, then I would start there. Honestly, I needed an audiobook at this time, and so I'm really glad that I ended up getting that hold ready for me at the library. I was really in the mood for summer books this month. It's a good time to read Carley Fortune. If you haven't finished any of her books, I would say it's a good time to get on that Carley Fortune grind like I did. So while I was listening to that one, I was also reading The Poisoned Daughter by Sheila Masterson, and oh my god, this book was so incredible. A standalone romantasy, first of all, sign me up. This book, I got jump scared at the library because I did not realize that I was on hold. I thought I paused it. And the wait list is so long for this book. So I said, you know what? We are pushing aside the TBR to read this book. And I'm so glad I did. It was so good. I want to say it's like up there in my top romantasy books. It's hard to say though because it is a standalone. Everything else is a series. So it also just like, you can't really compare it that way, but it is like one of the top fantasy books I've read this year at least. The Poisoned Daughter is about a girl who is part of the family who kind of like runs the city, is in charge of the city. And the city, it has like walls all the way around it because there are basically like vampire zombies outside of the walls. And so they have to like cave themselves in, and her family is responsible for running all the politics and keeping the city safe by like using their magic to keep the vampire zombies away from the walls. The other part of this lore is that years and years and years ago, I think it's like 10 years ago, this other place that's nearby, it's like a mountain town. The vampire zombies attacked the mountain town and they did not help them, and there's bad blood, and now suddenly the mountain town wants to like ally with them again. And so everyone's suspicious of everyone. They're like, what is your motive that you're hiding from me, and why do you want to be my ally? Like, both sides are basically just all Spider-Man memeing each other. And so everything uncovers at the perfect time. It's a slow burn, definitely on the lore. It's kind of a slow burn on the spice. You get enough of like, you know, sprinkles of it throughout the book. Everything in this book hits at the perfect time. I can't speak enough about how good this book is. Like, 5 stars. It was so good. The characters are so good and have so much depth. There's a lot of lore. There's also like magic that's really cool. And there are 2 places with 2 maps, which I think is fun. Really just don't want to spoil a single thing because I loved it. But the spice, girl, the spice is amazing. If you don't want spice, do not read this book. Honestly, don't even read it. Literally all around such a good book. I just highly, highly recommend. After Poison Daughter, it was honestly already like over a week into the month, because that book is 600 pages. So I was like, I need to get to one of the arcs I have to read this month. And so I read Pretty Dead Things by Kelsey Cox. This is about a small Texas town that holds, I think, an annual pageant. Years ago at this pageant, like 20 years before this current pageant, one of the contestants went missing and they never solved it, never found her, anything like that. And so now that this generation of pageant queens is moms of daughters, they want to bring back the pageant. And some of the daughters are competing. There's just a bunch of creepy stuff going on. So it's definitely a thriller, but like a slow thriller. It doesn't really get that scary until like halfway through. There is a lot of buildup and there are a lot of point of views. Like, honestly, I was like, which mom is this again? And who's her daughter? And like, honestly, there was like a little bit too much going on right off the bat, because you can't really stick to enough characters right away to remember who's who. And so I wish that was a little bit different. But once I got like 50% in, I was like, okay, I think I know what's going on. I'm in it. I'm invested. I want to know who done it. Also, a small part that I really loved about the book is that the daughters have this really beautiful friendship. And towards the end, it just really shows. And I just was like, at least there's one light in this darkness, you know? Also, the reveal of whodunit is like layers upon layers of insanity. Like, the slow burn of it and the fact that it took me a bit to get into this book, it totally paid off by the ending. The ending was crazy. They have to go back 20 years and like back before that to kind of show you like how we got there and how they did it. And oh my God, it was literally so insane. If you're not a huge thriller reader, I still think you would like it, because I'm not a huge thriller reader and I was so invested by the end. I literally tore through the last probably 20%. I rated it 3 stars because of how hard it was for me to get into it, but also the ending went so hard. I cannot stress enough how good the ending was. If you guys saw last month's video where I talked about The Fury being so unsatisfying, this satisfied my thriller craving. And Pretty Dead Things comes out July 7th, so you will be able to read it this month. So after I finished Pretty Dead Things, I was still in line for some books at the library that were on the TBR for this month. So I decided to look at my 26 for 2026 list and check out a book on audio, because I know I've been slacking on these challenges and I'm trying to catch up. I ended up checking out Wild Love on audio, and I did not expect to like this book so much. It was really, really good. Like, I've only read 2 books by Elsie Silver so far, and it was Photo Finish and then the one right after that, the first 2 books in that series. I picked up this book kind of expecting to like it around the same amount as those books, but this book was way better to me. I don't know why. I enjoyed this billionaire, like, small town aspect better than the full cowboy, like, ranch aspect. This is also a second chance, which, like I said, I accidentally read a million second chance books. It's a single dad billionaire and best friend's little sister. So I am so glad I did audio, for one, because it was so much fun to listen to the dual narration. I love audiobooks like that. I love Second Chance. I suddenly love Billionaire Single Dad, didn't even know. Like, I just had a great time with this book. I also needed more audiobooks this month because I work part-time at a workout studio, and at the end of the night when I'm just like by myself folding towels and cleaning stuff, it is so nice to just have an audiobook in and just grind out all the cleaning. And so I started listening to this book and I finished it really quickly. It was the perfect book at the perfect time. I'm definitely going to continue this series like very soon. I think I want to do this series on audio. It's just so much fun. And I also definitely want to go back and listen to the other Elsie Silver books, like the rest of the Ranch series, and then I need to go into Chestnut Springs or whatever it is, the one with Flawless and Reckless. I think based on her earlier books, I expected to not like them as much, but these newer books are much more up my alley, and so now I want to like dip my toe in every single one of her series and see what's up. I feel like everyone and their mother has read this book, and I'm just super behind, but I did like I said, want to check off a book from my 26 for 2026 list. So we did further a challenge there. I rated Wild Love 4 stars. I had a really great time listening to it. I just thought it was really sweet. If you're like me and you weren't wowed by her earlier series, I still think you should check out Wild Love because, like I said, I was so pleasantly surprised. The next book I read was Summer People by Sally Blakely, which is the other arc I had to read for the month of June. And this is a second chance. This book is actually marketed to be similar to Happy Place by Emily Henry. And I didn't realize that when I said that last month, that it sounded like Happy Place. Same story, different font, but like not the same story. Like I don't want you to think you're reading Happy Place again if you check this book out, because you're not. I was surprised by how much I like this book. I'm a Happy Place lover and I rated this book 4 stars. I don't think that they are the same book. Like you're definitely not reading the same story again. But I would say it's similar to Happy Place without as much sadness. There's more anger in this book than sadness. I would say that in this book, they're more mad at each other, whereas Harriet and Wynne are more sad, if that makes sense. It is similar in the sense that Summer People is about a group of college friends who agree to go on vacation together every summer to keep in touch. And of course, there have been a couple summers that have gone by where they haven't been able to line up their plans. They haven't seen each other. And this is kind of their last hurrah trying to save the friend group. If you like Happy Place, I for sure think you should check this book out. I think you would like it. I rated it 4 stars. And I am a Happy Place lover. And if you need a summer read, a second chance about a group of friends going on vacation together every single year, past, present type of thing, this is the book for you, girl. After getting the 2 arcs out of the way and my library book, I finally got to a physical book on my TBR. That is This Summer Will Be Different. This is part of the Tackling My TBR challenge where I'm trying to get through all of these books on the bottom shelf by the end of the year. This one we chose in the TBR jar last month. I think it was literally just a book off your physical TBR. So we finally picked this one to continue the Carley Fortune train. And I was so surprised by how much I like this, because going from Every Summer After and One Golden Summer to Meet Me at the Lake, I had low expectations for this one because in my mind, I thought this would be more similar to Meet Me at the Lake. But it was way more similar to Every Summer After. Like, I would say, honestly, this book, for me, goes between my ranking of Every Summer After and One Golden Summer. I think this is second in line now. The fact that I liked it more than Every Summer After is kind of insane to me because I love that book. But since nothing will ever beat One Golden Summer for me, but I liked it better than Every Summer After, I decided to rate this 4.75, which is right between those 2 books' ratings for me. This is, again, a second chance. It is her college roommate's brother. My review is who the hell was cutting onions in my apartment? Who's doing that to me? Because I was getting allergies or something towards like the whole second half of this book. Like tears were streaming. This book was so good. I don't know what it is about it, but like it was just so sweet. Like it's one of those books where she describes him as like smelling like the wind. And I'm just like, this is peak summer book. So this was really fun for me because right from the first chapter, I was hooked. You find out right away that this girl was meeting up with her friend at her family's summer home, but her friend's flight got delayed and she got there first by herself, went to a restaurant, hooked up with the hot guy at the restaurant, and found out the next morning it was her friend's brother. I think it spans like the next 5 years after that, and now her friend is getting married, and so she's back at her friend's family home, back around this guy again. I am for sure going to revisit this book again. I really want to reread Every Summer After, One Golden Summer, and this book at some point. I think if you're going to read Carley Fortune, you should read Every Summer After and One Golden Summer, and read this one as well. Either first or after those 2, because this book was so romantic. The yearning was written so well. The pages got blurry for some reason. I don't know what happened. I had allergies. This was the summer romance I was looking for. It was the perfect time. Highly recommend, so good. Since I had a few days left of June after I finished The Summer Will Be Different, I decided that I wanted to pick up one more book off of my Tackling My TBR challenge because I honestly needed to not read another second chance, and I had just gotten Our Perfect Storm from audio, and I know it was on my June TBR, but it's another second chance, and I was like, I'm not gonna like this book if I listen right now. So I went over to my physical TBR and I decided to pick up The Summer of Broken Rules. For some reason, I felt like these 2 books needed to be read together. I don't know why. It just was calling to me after I read This Summer Will Be Different. So I picked this book up off the shelf. I did not realize this was a book about the game Assassin, if you guys have ever played or heard of that game. It's basically a game where everyone is assigned a target and then you use like water guns or Nerf guns. And then once you get your target, you inherit their target until there is one last person standing. And this is really cute because It's about a girl who has just graduated high school and her cousin is getting married. And so she goes to her family's land, like with her whole extended family for this wedding and her cousin's groom side of the family. And they play this gigantic game of assassin. And it is so much fun to read. The romance that comes from her and one of the groomsmen. It's just really cute. It is about like 18, 19-year-olds going off to college soon. So that is kind of the vibe. The other thing about this is that I just want to let you all know that there is a big theme of grief because her sister had passed away like a year and a half before the wedding. Look up the trigger warnings if you want, because that was definitely a sad note in this book, and I don't want anyone to accidentally read something they don't want to read. So as someone with a sister, it made me very emotional to read this, but the relationship and everything that was revealed towards the end and the Game of Assassins, like all of it was just really fun to read. I don't think I will keep this book. I think I will end up unhauling it at the end of the year. I ended up rating this book 3 stars. I enjoyed it. I would recommend for a cute summer read. I also flipped back and forth between physical and audio, and I did like the audiobook. But I'm so glad I finally got to it because it's just been sitting on my shelf and I had a great time. It was, again, I was in the mood for summer reads and it definitely scratched the itch. Like, very glad we finally got to this book. So here are all the books that I read in June. I know I did not get to Our Perfect Storm and The Deal, which is really annoying because those were the 2 that I really wanted to read this month. But the good news is that my holds have just recently become ready. So we'll be reading them in the beginning of July. I have only scheduled 5 books to read in July because I don't want to overload myself and get too excited. So we're going to keep it at 5 this month. Here are my updates for my current challenges. We are behind on both. It is halfway through the year and I am not at 50% for either of these. I need to promise myself that by setting it to 5 books only, we will be going to this shelf. I need a mood read. Like, I need to get some of these going because I really badly want to finish that challenge. Tackling my TBR would be so cool to finish because I already have books up on the higher shelf for a 2027 Tackling My TBR challenge. So I really don't want to roll over many books if I can help it. Which brings us to our July TBR, obviously starting with The Deal and Our Perfect Storm. I'm going to inherit last month's TBR because it just wasn't a big reading month for me. The TBR jar got me too excited, okay? And I picked too many books, but we knew that. We knew when we did the TBR jar that I picked too many. The first 2 books that I'm gonna read in July, I'm gonna read The Deal on Kindle and I'm gonna listen to Our Perfect Storm. I already have both of these library holds checked out, so we are gonna get to them this month. The other thing is that this month I'm not doing a TBR jar because I know, like I said, I'm gonna start a new job. I already know I'm gonna be way too busy to pick more than what I already have on the TBR. So I'm just going to go over the arcs that I'm going to read in addition to The Deal and Our Perfect Storm. The first arc, though, is really, really exciting. This month I'm going to read Daggermouth. I can't wait. This is going to be traditionally published, and they reposted the arc on NetGalley, and I got it. And I'm really, really excited because I wanted to read this. But once again, it is a really, really long book with a super long waitlist at the library. So I'm going to be reading this month because the book is being republished on July 28th, and I'm super excited to have this arc. I have heard all good things, but also I know almost nothing about it, so I'm trying not to spoil anything. I kind of want to go in blind, and so I'm not going to give you a lot of detail, but luckily this book has so much hype around it that if you want to know anything about it, it's super easy to find information. So number 1 priority this month is Daggermouth. The other book I have on my list is Love You More by Emily Giffin. This is an arc that comes out July 7th, so it's coming out this month, and I have no idea what it's about. So 1 second. Ooh, guess what, y'all? Love You More is a second chance. Oopsies. Okay, I have a problem. I can't stop requesting second chance books. Hi, baby. Oh, I have 2 shrimps. Can you guys see? 2 shrimps. Okay, Love You More is about a woman who is newly engaged and then she receives a call from her first love with news that shatters her carefully ordered world. Oof. So the news he brings means she has to go back home and see him again and like deal with everything that broke them up. I have read other Emily Giffin books and I really liked them, so I'm excited to read yet another second chance book, I guess. But yeah, I think I'm just accidentally reading a million second chance books, so sorry that all my reviews are on second chances, but I need to do like a second chance book ranking at some point. Just like, I've read a million second chance books, here's the ones that are worth reading type of thing, because I have read so many. The last book I'm gonna read in July is not an arc for me in itself, but it is the first book to an arc I have next month. So I'll be reading Smoke and Scar by Gretchen Powell Fox this month, because next month I have the arc for Splintered Kingdom. So I'm going to listen to Smoke and Scar this month in preparation. Smoke and Scar is the first book in the Shattered Crown fantasy series. It is a book about trials. Basically, the last time these trials happened 25 years ago, our main character lost somebody in the trials, and now this time they've come around, she is trying to stop this person's sister from also falling into that same fate. There's also another person in the trials that I guess has to ally with her in order to get through them. And so our main character and this other person end up kind of navigating these trials together. Then they end up possibly falling for each other. So it is a romantasy. It is a book of trials. Obviously, I don't know that much about it yet, but I will report back next month. So yeah, that's my reading update this month. I'm sorry that 90% of the books we talked about were second chance. I really did not mean to do that, I swear. I hope that you had a good reading month. I hope that you have a great July reading month. I hope your summer is going well. Same time next month, girlies. We will meet back at the end of July to discuss all these books and hopefully more. Hopefully I'm underestimating the amount I can read and we get through more books. Thank you for chit-chatting with me and hanging out. I love yapping about books with you, and I will see you in the next one. Stay cozy.